أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we want to explain what was the message that Lady Fatemah, peace upon her, tried to deliver to the Muslims of her time. What was all about her attending to the mosque, delivering speech in the presence of all Muhajirin and Ansar. What did she aim to tell Muslims about? That they were not focusing and not observing it. So this is the whole idea about the speech, the great speech of Lady Fatemah alayhi salam in the mosque of her father, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. Before we answer that question, brothers and sisters, let us remember one historical fact. And what was the opinion of Muslims after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? In how many groups could be divided, and see that how many doctrines were there or influence was there to teach them or push them towards a particular activity or decision. In summary, we can say that the major groups towards the end of the life of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam were three. The first were the Ansar, the helpers, those people who lived in Medina. And when the other Muslims migrated from Mecca to Medina, after that the Prophet ﷺ migrated and decided to stay. So these are known as Ansar, the helpers. Of course, their role was very, very important in supporting the migrants. To establish brotherhood between one of Ansar and one of Muhajirin was the great principle and decision that the Prophet ﷺ started immediately after the event of migration or hijrah. But we have to know that this group or this party, Al-Ansar, encompassed of two factions. One are known the tribe of Al-Aws, and the other one as the tribe of Al-Khazraj. Two major tribes strong in Medina before the event of Hijrah. The head of Al-Aws was a person called Sa'd ibn Mu'adh, and the head of Al-Khazraj was Sa'd ibn Abadah. Both, the first name was Sa'd, but one Sa'd ibn Mu'adh, the other one Sa'd ibn Abadah. There was dispute continuously between these two factions, two that whatever we call them tribes. Each one had their own traditions and culture, different discipline, the leadership of each one in confrontation with the other one. Many wars took place between them throughout the history. But, as we said, Islam united them, brought them together, and they were brothers and sisters. The second group are Quraysh. And of course, Quraysh are all tribes, not one, all tribes that they dwell in Mecca for a long, long time. Those who reverted and accepted Islam followed the Prophet ﷺ to Medina, and that's why they are called Muhajirin, the migrants. The problem with Quraysh was that inside them there were many, many hypocrites. In the Quran, we see that the hypocrites, munafiqeen, are mentioned in more than one occasion, more than ayah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala condemned them in a way that they utter something, but there is no true faith in their hearts about it. They pretend to accepted Islam, but in reality, Islam did not deepen its roots in their personality at all. Not all, of course, many of them. And we noticed that when the Prophet ﷺ was offering the khutbah prayer, the Friday prayer, and the khutbah he was delivering, the sermon, when a little trade and entertainment was outside the Medina, and this is the last ayah of Surah Al-Jumu'ah to indicate, to talk about it, they left the Prophet whilst he was delivering his speech during the Friday prayer. It was only few who remained in the mosque with the Prophet. So, having said that, we can't imagine that all were sincere in Islam and they were committing themselves to the principles of faith. No, it is just to say that we hope and we wish to always admire them, but this was not the case. And the third group are the Hashemites. This was Imam Ali alayhi salam, his uncle Al-Abbas ibn Abdul Muttalib, and many who followed them, who remained loyal to Ayat al-Tathir, to Mubahala, to other occasions, to know the status of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Having said that, when Lady Fatemah salamullah alayha, after the demise of her father, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, noticed suddenly that there is a gathering in Saqifat Bani Sa'ida, the place where was the gathering place for Khazraj, and Sa'd ibn Abadah was the head of them. They thought that, oh, it is our time to, because we helped the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and without our assistance and our help, Islam would not survive or not manage to deepen its status in Medina and some other places. So they gathered to choose the successor to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, the Quraysh, or the people from Quraysh, had another idea, and they thought that this is the time for them who really embraced Islam and remained loyal to the Prophet and now migrated to Medina. This is their time to go for leadership. So, if we may use this idea or similitude between the two parties fighting for the authority, whether in the United States or in Britain, yeah, which one will get more votes or wins the election? Something similar like that, similar to that, happened few days after the death of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the fight started between Quraysh and the other people who were the Ansar. Imam Ali alayhi salam and the Hashemites knew, not once, not 10 times, not 100 times, that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam clearly appointed Imam Ali alayhi salam to be the successor. Now, the whole situation changed, and Lady Fatemah salamullahi alayha entered the mosque to explain 5 very important principles. The first one, the indispensability of the divine religion to guide humanity to the right path. To explain that the whole message wasn't to seize power, not to feel superior, not to say, I am the authority and other people are no one but to listen, or they are all subjects. No, it was the guidance to the truth, to the light, coming out of the full darkness to the full light. The second point, that the philosophy of many rulings that never previously were explained or presented by Muslims, and that is very, very important to show the essence of the message and why all commands and prohibitions are so important in Islam. Lady Fatemah salamullahi alayha in her speech spoke about 20 of those rulings and explained the philosophy behind them. Number 3, to emphasize on the role of Imam Ali alayhi salam as the true successor, to explain that the qualifications, the one who is more qualified to guide. If you are talking about knowledge, he was the most knowledgeable person. It was about the strength in defending Islam, he was the most brave and strong person to defend Islam. If it is selflessness, to only think about the faith itself, not any personal interest, again Ali was the exemplar for that. If it is for forgetting himself and sacrificing everything for the survival of Islam, Ali was the same. And furthermore, the appointment of the divine guide after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was left to Allah and to the Holy Messenger to decide for, not to leave it as dispute between parties to elect this one or elect that. And the fourth point in her speech, that she really emphasized upon that to dismantle any project that follows the doctrine and the path of Saqifa, to say that all these gatherings and planning to fight for power is not part of Islam at all. Any attempt to copy the same will fail and will negate all the purpose of Islam and the aim for it, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the Holy Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Finally, the Lady Fatemah alayhi salam, forewarning the community, the Muslim community, about the adversities, about the problems that they are going to face when dictators, when people who know nothing but their interest and their power, those who don't bother at all about shedding the blood of innocent people, about considering themselves and giving them every right to do whatever suits them. This was something that Lady Fatemah salamullah alayha explained and nullified and proved that it was not something that matches the principles of Islam at all. So, in brief, it wasn't only Lady Fatemah going to the mosque to ask for the fadak which was confiscated for her. It wasn't there only to say, I am the only daughter or only person that through me the generations and the offspring of the Prophet ﷺ will continue to flourish. Not, it was much more important. These are the principles, these are the messages that Lady Fatemah salamullah alayha wanted to deliver. Indeed, she succeeded in opening their minds, succeeded in telling them that the direction they are taking is wrong. But unfortunately, this did not help about the atrocities were done to herself by setting fire on her door, by causing her little child, Al-Muhsin, to be miscarried, and to lead to other consequences that were dreadful. And like these days, all followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam commemorate her martyrdom, that she left this life not happy about the treatment the Muslim nation, the people who held power in their hands, they treated her, and that is really dreadful and something to be always a matter of sadness in the history of Islam. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.